Welcome to the Dugout. I'm your host, Joseph Silva. On today's episode, we talk about why Buster Olney may be the greatest scouting genius of all time, why we need to be nice to Shohei Ohtani, a potential World Series preview in Atlanta, all this week on the Dugout. And if you like what you see here, be sure to leave a like, subscribe to Playbook Sports for all things sports related, and let's get started. So we start with last week's series of the week, which was the Blue Jays and the Mariners. And quite frankly, it was another rough series for Seattle and what we've been getting out of the big three. Luis Castillo and George Kirby continued their struggles. Castillo went 5 innings, gave up 9 hits, 4 earned, struck out 6 in another rough start. Kirby only went 4, gave up 8 hits, 5 runs, 3 strikeouts. And on the year, the two of them combined have started 6 games, thrown 30 innings, a 6.90 ERA, a 1.67 whip, and a little over 9.3 Ks per 9. It's been rough for the two of them, and for equally different reasons. Castillo will be able to figure it out due to the fact that he's just getting very, very unlucky this year. Hitters are making more contact in the zone, a 10% jump from last year, and a 14% jump on pitches out of the zone. His fastball's not different, his breaking stuff's not any different. He's just getting unlucky, and it's shown by the fact that his BABIP is 414. A normal BABIP is 300. You're unlucky if it's 350. If it's 414, go see a shaman because you need some demons excised. Meanwhile, George Kirby is a lot more different. His splitter is flat this year. He lost an inch of movement, 12% of active spin, so it's flat. It's easier for the hitters to see, and they're teeing off on it. It's his worst pitch this year by far. That does not excuse his other pitches, though, because they're still getting hit at over 300 average. He's really got to fix something out. I don't know if it's pitch grips or pitch mixing, but something has to be done to get George Kirby going. Logan Gilbert has continued his great season. He went 7 2/3 strong, gave up 5, 1 earned on an absolute bomb from Vlad Jr. on a hanging slider. But other than that, 1 walk, 8 strikeouts, a 37% whiff rate on all his stuff. He was nasty in the series finale. The bullpen was another strength for Seattle. They went 10 1/3, ERA under 1, whip under 1, 7.9 Ks per 9, and they only got 4 innings from the big three of Andres Munoz, Ryan Stank, and Trent Thornton. The bullpen has looked fantastic, even with the lesser guys pitching this year. And that's not even including the fact that Matt Brash is on the injured list and is only going to improve once he gets back and helps this bullpen. Offensively, I think the Mariners season can be encapsulated in one statistic or interesting fact. The Mariners got rid of Eugenio Suarez and Teoscar Hernandez in order to cut the strikeout rate, make more contact, and they thought that would be the key for them to improve offensively this year. Well, they're striking out more than ever this year, and quite frankly, they could use Eugenio Suarez, who's having a decent season in Seattle or in Arizona, and Teoscar Hernandez, who is absolutely crushing it with the Dodgers this year. They have a 207 team batting average this year, and it's kind of emblematic of everything with Julio Rodriguez. 2 for 12 on the series, 1 walk, 5 strikeouts. He's chasing, but he's not making the hard contact he usually is to kind of justify all this chasing. And he's got to change his plate approach. Be a little more patient. Look for your pitches in the zone, or you're going to get Javi Baez. No one wants to be Javier Baez because that's the worst contract in the league. He may be the worst player in the league, and Julio Rodriguez is too damn fun to get Javi Baez. Cal Raleigh similarly had another tough series. Sub 200 average. He only had 2 hits, but they were 2 big hits as he had a home run in the first game and had the go-ahead home run in extras in Game 3. Much to the dismay of Blue Jays fans, Cal Raleigh got him again. Ty France has probably been the best hitter this year. He's got a 316 average, but in typical Ty France fashion, he only has 2 extra base hits. However, one of them was, in fact, the dagger double in Game 3 that helped the Mariners win a game. Toronto, if you were thinking of one team that had the big three, you thought it would have been the Blue Jays the way their rotation pitched in this series. 9 1/3 innings, 9.93 ERA, whip under 1, 10.7 Ks per 9. It is absolutely what you want to see from this rotation. Jose Barrios went 6 2/3, no earned, 4 hits, 6 strikeouts. Chris Bassett, 6 2/3, 1 earned, 5 hits, 8 strikeouts. And Yusei Kikuchi, it was not his fault they lost in the finale. 6 innings, 3 hits allowed, 1 earned, 9 strikeouts. The rotation is phenomenal. And quite frankly, it's even going to get scarier once Kevin Gausman returns off the injured list. And this wasn't supposed to be the strength of this team. It was supposed to be the offense. But if the rotation pitchers like this, it's what the Blue Jays need to hit their ceiling this year and finally make that deep playoff run with this young, exciting core that's only aging and is only disappointed in October. The bullpen, however, was a different story. They don't have Jordan Romano, but Jordan Romano does not need a majority of the innings here. They went 8 2/3. They had an 8.31 ERA, a whip of 1.5. They were striking out a lot of guys, but they were giving up a lot of home runs too, as a 4.15 home runs per 9. Chad Green has been the closer for now, and he has been okay at best on the season. 5 2/3 innings pitched, 2 saves, a K per 9 of 6.35, and a 1.41 whip. He's the definition of a heart attack closer, and he doesn't have the stuff to justify it because you're just not going to strike guys out. You're going to put the ball in play, and eventually you're going to have bad luck. You're going to have a bad outing, and that's not what you want from the guy that's holding the fort down for the time being. On the hitting side, Vlad Jr. had a decent series. 231 average is not what you want to see from someone with his bat-to-ball skills, but he was absolutely smashing the ball, as it was a 539 slugging, the 1 home run, which he absolutely crushed, and 2 RBIs. Springer's struggles continue, 154 average, OPS of 368. It's hard for him right now. He hasn't really gotten it going. He's not walking at the same rate. He's just topping the ball a lot, so he's not making good contact, but it should be fixable because he's just missing that solid contact. But the star of the series was Isaiah Kiner-Falefa. 750 average, 1 run scored, a double, 2 RBIs. He was on base basically every time he came up to bat this series. He really feasted on what was supposed to be one of the best pitching staffs in baseball. And IKF might be one of those guys that can pick up the load for the Stars as they struggle. Meanwhile, it's just been a tough year for the Mariners. There's no way around it. They struggling with the big three. They're struggling to hit the ball. Something really needs to change here, either organizationally or just with the approach, because this team was really supposed to be in their golden era. They were supposed to be fighting with Houston to take over the AL West, and they have ceded that position to the Texas Rangers for the time being. So you really have to wonder, where do you go from here? The contact-first approach didn't work. The home run-friendly approach worked, but it didn't get them deep into the playoffs. They got to fix whatever is going on with George Kirby. They got to hope for better luck with Luis Castillo, and they got to hope that someone comes up and carries the load offensively if J-Rod's continuing to struggle. The Blue Jays, on the other hand, look like the contender they've been touted to be since 2021. The pitching was phenomenal. The bullpen does need work, but there's always bullpen arms you can acquire at the deadline. They can always improve. You can shuffle some guys around and get their roles fixed. Maybe have Nate Pearson go into high leverage situations. His stuff is phenomenal. Let's see if he can handle it. The offensive side, you're getting contributions, but not from the guys you expect. You're looking for, Springer and Guerrero to have the contributions. It's Davis Schneider. It's Justin Turner carrying the offense right now. And you really need all of these guys to click in sync in order for you to truly hit your ceiling. But the Blue Jays, meanwhile, have proved that they might be that third American League wildcard team. For our second series, we head to beautiful PNC Park to talk about two of the most surprising teams of the year, which is your Pittsburgh Pirates and the Detroit Tigers. The Pirates pitching has once again been great. Mitch Keller went 6 strong, gave up 5 hits, 2 earned, 3 walks, and 9 strikeouts. He is exactly who we have expected Mitch Keller to be. He's got a beautiful, beautiful fastball. The breaking stuff plays off it fantastically. And he really does look like he will be the ace of the staff for the time being while we await on the much hyped Paul Skeens. Martin Perez was phenomenal. 8 strong innings, only allowing 1 earned, 6 hits, 7 strikeouts. He continues to show that maybe what happened in Texas and in Boston was actually who he is going forward. He is an absolute steal for the Pirates this year. However, the thing that came out to bite him this season, David Bednar has been bad. His command is off. He blew another save, 3rd of the year. He blew it in game 2, got 1 out, gave up 4, 3 hits and a walk. It has been brutal to watch, and you really don't know who's going to take over that closer role if Bednar continues to struggle. All eyes naturally go to Aroldis Chapman, but he has struggled in leverage time and time again for the past few years, and then too, he has been known to give it up in the playoffs. He's fantastic in his setup role, and he did have a great inning in this series. But again, I don't expect Aroldis Chapman to take over if you're looking for a new closer should Bednar continue to struggle. Brian Reynolds offensively did carry the load here as he had a great series with a .333 average, a home run, a double, an RBI, 2 runs scored. He's who you signed him to be. Pirates fans are glad they did not trade him. He's providing the leadership for the younger players on the team, and he's playing great baseball. He's playing exactly what you want to see out of Brian Reynolds. But there was not much lineup consistency to talk about. A lot of players were in and out. Henry Davis played game 2 but not game 1. O'Neal Cruz played game 1, only pinch hit in game 2. Kutch played game 2, didn't play game 1. They really platooned a lot, but it didn't matter because they did have some good performances from anyone who was in that lineup, and more importantly, they had 34 hard hit balls across the 2 games. And that is absolutely phenomenal. It showed in their expected batting averages, 353 and 343 respectively. The offense looks good no matter who's in it right now. And once they find some lineup consistency, once O'Neal Cruz, starts playing regularly, Henry Davis starts playing regularly, and you have a solid 1 through 9 for both righties and lefties, this Pirates team is scary in what is a very stacked, competitive, and topsy-turvy NL Central. The Tigers, on the other hand, may have a little cause for concern. The pitching is what's supposed to carry them, and the pitching did not have a good series. Reese Olson couldn't get out of the 5th. He went 4 1/3, 9 hits, 6 earned, 3 walks, 3 strikeouts. He unfortunately got the short end of the stick as he did have to face the incredible O'Neal Cruz, but that was only one batter in the lineup. Everyone else just tattooed him, and it showed in the final stats. Casey Mize, who is supposed to be the co-ace with Tariq Skubal, had a good game, not a great game. He went 5 innings, gave up 2 runs on 5 hits, a walk, but only 2 strikeouts. That's not what you want to see out of Casey Mize. He's got to make guys swing and miss more, and if they're putting the ball in play, good things don't usually happen for the Tigers, unfortunately. The bullpen held it down, though. They went 7 2/3 in this series. They really had to eat a majority of the innings due to the faltering of the starters. They only gave up 2 runs, 6 hits, 2 walks, 4 strikeouts. That's a good starters line out of your bullpen in a 2-game series. You want more strikeouts, and again, they really don't have the guy for the 9th inning yet. So that's something they need to address if they really want to compete in a weak AL Central. However, you're looking more for your starters to be good. That's where this team makes their bread and butter, and it's not really good this far. Spencer Torkelson, however, was expected to carry this offense. He's not. He's struggling. He's not hitting the ball as hard as he was and just getting unlucky. He's hitting it softly. He's in the bottom half of a lot of the hard hit statistics on Baseball Savant. And it's really concerning considering, he was supposed to be the savior of the franchise. He was the number 1 overall pick a couple years ago. And he really hasn't shown any of it aside from the second half of last season. Really concerning stuff out of Torkelson. They're not hitting the ball hard at all either this year as an offense. They're in the bottom 10 in average exit velocity, so they really got to find a guy who just smashes the ball because hard hit balls are successful balls. And offensively, you don't have a standout this year. Like Riley Green, Mark Canha, Gio Urshela are solid, but you're not asking Riley Green to carry an offense. Gio Urshela and Mark Canha have been great in the past. However, they're over the hill, they're past their prime, and if they are the people that you're asking to carry your offense in 2024, you really need to look at how you're developing hitting, how you're signing hitting, and you really got to get a good hitting core together because this division is winnable. The Tigers do have a good record, but they played the White Sox. They're playing weak opponents. And when they finally got someone on their level, it took a blown save for them to squeak out a game in this series, and they need to be better going forward if they want to win the American League Central. And for what ended up being the most shocking series of the weekend, the Brewers went into Camden Yards and absolutely smacked the Baltimore Orioles, who are expected to be the favorites in the American League. Freddie Peralta looked like the dark horse Cy Young candidate he was touted to be. 6 strong innings, 5 hits, 1 earned, and he struck out 11 in a very potent and a very deadly Baltimore lineup. The rest of the rotation did struggle, though. DL Hall went 3 1/3, 5 earned, 1 walk, gave up 3 home runs. That was rough. Colin Ray converted from the bullpen as a starter. 5 2/3, 5 hits, 3 earned, a walk, 6 strikeouts, gave up 2 home runs again. You need Colin Ray to kind of step up here because you don't have Brandon Woodruff. You traded Corbin Burns. Freddie Peralta is the ace, and then it's who else? Ray was supposed to be the number 2, number 3 at minimum, and now he's just another who else that continues to struggle here. Offensively for the Brewers, they are on an incredible hot streak to start the year, and it's only getting better the way they hit in this series. William Contreras went absolutely bananas in this series. 5 for 12, 2 home runs, 5 RBIs, 6 runs scored, putting up a 1378 OPS. We all knew that William Contreras can hit. He showed that in his time in Atlanta. We didn't know he could hit like this. He is hitting like the best catcher in baseball. He is framing pitches like the best catcher in baseball. The Brewers really turned him around from a guy with a lot of tools and potentials to a guy who may start at the All-Star game if he keeps this up this year. Willy Adames has always been someone that I have not been high on. He just never really put up the numbers to justify the hype in a really loaded shortstop era in baseball to be a top 10 shortstop. But he absolutely went nuclear as he was 8 for 14, 2 doubles, a home run, 5 RBIs, 5 runs scored, a 1500 OPS. He played like Barry Bonds and then some because everything he saw, he crushed. Everything he saw out of the zone, he took for a walk. He really did what you want every great hitter to do, and he did it off what was supposed to be a great Baltimore pitching staff. But unfortunately, it wasn't all sunshine and roses, as their top prospect, Jackson Chourio, has struggled, continues to struggle. He was 1 for 13 in this series, did not look good at any point. He really needs to get things going here. And of course, the offensive star, Christian Yelich, who really did turn the clock back to 2018, 2019 Yelly, the classic belly Yelly, Christian Yelich. He exited game 1 after only 1 plate appearance with back tightness. The return table is uncertain, and that is a big blow for this Brewers lineup. You can count on William Contreras. You can count on Willy Adames more or less. Rhys Hoskins has been solid. But Christian Yelich is the heartbeat of this team. And if he's out for an extended period of time, it really can deal a damaging blow to this offense. Meanwhile, for Baltimore, there's no way to put it. It was rough from everybody. The rotation only pitched 13 innings in the entire series, 8.31 ERA, a whip of 7.62 Ks per 9, 2.77 home runs per 9. You can't really find anything great, unfortunately. Dean Kramer was supposed to be one of those big guys you expected to take a step this year. He got knocked around like a piñata. Tyler Wells was blown up in a start. Even Corbin Burns, the ace of the staff, couldn't go 6 strong. He only went into the 5th, gave up 2, but really was not the Corbin Burnes you really expected in what was supposed to be his revenge game against his former team. All in all, just a rough start for this pitching staff. Meanwhile, the platoon guys for Baltimore are really heating up here. Colton Cowser was 4 for 10 in the series. A double, 2 home runs, 2 RBIs, 3 runs scored, 2 walks, 1,600 OPS. He outplayed Willy Adames, and Willy Adames outplays Barry Bonds in this series. So Colton Cowser absolutely scorching this year. Really a great platoon option for this team. And I think he's going to be someone you're fearing in an already stacked Baltimore lineup. Cedric Mullins is bringing back that old Cedric Mullins we loved from a few years ago. He was 4 for 8 with a double, a home run, an RBI, and a 1,500 OPS. He plays great defense in center field. You know the speed's there, but if the bat is anything remotely close to this, again, that just adds length to a lineup that you know what you're getting out of Santander. You know what you're getting out of Rutschman and Henderson. But if these are the guys that are contributing, this is the Baltimore team we saw last year. This is the Baltimore team that is expected to win the pennant in the American League. But overall, it was a statement series for Milwaukee. They were a team that were not expected to do anything due to the Brandon Woodruff injury, especially so after they traded Corbin Burnes. But they went ahead and they put baseball on notice, saying, we're here, we're ready to compete, because the pitching has always been there, but it's the fact that they had this incredible series off a top 10 staff in baseball. Ooh, keep an eye out on Milwaukee. Meanwhile, for the Orioles, the pitching, is good. I don't want to overblow what happened in the series. They're still a top 10 pitching staff in baseball. It just was not pretty the way they were giving up runs to this potent Brewers lineup. And then you're really looking for Adley Rutschman to step up here. He had a good series, but he has not been the Adley Rutschman we expect him to be. And it's more indicative of a problem this Baltimore lineup has, is they're not taking walks, they're not working counts, they're hitting the ball hard. But the philosophy of modern baseball is you got to get on no matter what, and they're not getting on via the walk. They only had 4 walks the entire series. It's got to improve if you want to hit your ceiling here. But speaking of Baltimore, Buster Olney was right, as he did tweet 10 years ago that Matt Holliday's son was a future star. The kid was 9 years old, and that kid is now the 20-year-old Jackson Holliday, who made his MLB debut on the 10th. He has really struggled, though, since making his debut, as he is not swinging in the zone as much as you would expect him to, and he's chasing a lot more than you ever thought he could, because he's swinging at 52.6% of pitches in the zone. That is not what you expect from an elite hitter, let alone the top prospect in baseball. And then he's chasing at 41.4% of pitches out of the zone, which is very uncharacteristic of why Jackson Holliday became who he was, because he walked nearly 19% of the time in the minor leagues and put up a 451 on-base percentage. And the fact that he's chasing suggests that, at least to me, that he's really pressing, that the weight of being a number 1 prospect is really on his shoulders. And hopefully the hit he got in yesterday's finale really gets him going and demonstrates that this game, yeah, it's hard, but it's still the same game you were playing down in AAA and AA. In the finale, he did start turning things around. He chased a little bit less. He was swinging a little bit more in the zone. So little by little, he's starting to make those improvements. He's starting to look a little more comfortable. So keep an eye on that if you turn into Orioles games this year, as Jackson Holliday looks to make an impact in an already stacked Baltimore lineup. Now, for the other news, let's be nice to Shohei Ohtani, okay? We all wanted him free from the Angels, and now that he has left, there have been scandals. I'll admit it, but we're not treating him as well as we should be. As we have an update finally on the Ippei Mizuhara scandal, he was officially charged on Thursday for stealing $16 million from Shohei Ohtani. He placed an incredible 19,000 bets over a 3-year span and had losses totaling over $40 million. The investigation by the federal government unearthed no evidence that Mizuhara placed bets on Ohtani or placed bets on the behalf of Ohtani. He did not place bets on baseball, which according to one national reporter, he should be celebrated for because at least he didn't bet on baseball. However, that does not mean Mizuhara is a good guy. He denied access to the bank accounts from Ohtani's agent and his financial advisors. And what for me is the most despicable thing in this entire thing is you were supposed to be Ohtani's best friend. And then every time you took money out of his account, you turned off notifications so your best friend wouldn't know how much you're stealing from him. I hope Mizuhara gets the punishment he deserves because that's not how you treat a friend. That is not how you treat a superstar. But I don't mind embarrassing him, as he said in a lot of texts that were unearthed with bookies. The most telling one to me is he said, "I'm terrible at the sports betting thing, huh?" Kinda, yeah. And of course, the other big Ohtani scandal for the year was the infamous home run ball drama, where a Twitter user said, I caught Ohtani's home run ball. I just want to give him whatever. Then later recanted his story and said, I was pressured into it. They offered me the 2 signed hats, a signed ball, and a signed bat. They refused to authenticate the ball for me. They took the ball away from my husband. Really, the team treated her poorly, and there's no getting around that. Ohtani, when asked about it in the postgame, said, I met with the fan. It was a mistranslation. It was misreported. As he really said, I wanted to meet with the fan, but didn't get the opportunity. And he was just absolutely dragged through the mud on the internet, called a liar, called all kinds of despicable things, as if he was the one that decided how the team would treat the user. Well, he did make it up to her, as on the Friday game in the series, before the game, he did meet the fan for her birthday, took pictures, gave her more signed gear, and hopefully this puts this whole saga to end, because he did the right thing at the end of the day. He met the fan, he gave her more stuff, and he really just apologized. He really is a good person, at least in my opinion, from what we've seen of him, and really has been justified in his whole belief of being private, because he has given the U.S. media a little bit of attention. He's been involved in little scandals and absolutely dragged through the mud, where the only thing he really wants to do is play baseball, and let's just let the man play baseball. But if you're looking for anything to watch this week, look at a potential World Series preview out in Atlanta as the Braves take on the Texas Rangers. In Game 1, you have Chris Sale versus Nathan Eovaldi. Chris Sale is starting to get a little back to that Chris Sale we've seen in 2018, his last full season, as he's got a 4.58 ERA for a 98 ERA plus, a 1.13 whip, and a 10.1 K per 9. Chris Sale striking dudes out. He's just got to start missing a little more barrels in key situations, start walking as many guys, and the run prevention will come with it. Meanwhile, Nathan Eovaldi is also 1-1 with a 2.98 ERA, a 1.43 ERA plus, a whip barely over 1, and 8 Ks per 9. Nathan Eovaldi, exactly who the Rangers need him to be in this scenario. Without the big two, he stepped up as the ace of the staff and really delivered key innings, clutch innings. He is going to be great in this game, and he's really going to be tested too, as this Braves lineup is potent. In Game 2, you have the struggling Max Fried, who does have 1 win, no losses, but an 8.74 ERA for a 52 ERA plus, a whip of 1.85 and 7.9 Ks per 9. Max Fried has been rough to start the year. We don't know really what's going on for him, but he really needs to turn things around, especially with the Spencer Strider news that he is done for the year. Max Fried has to be the ace of the staff here if the Braves look to make another deep October run. Meanwhile, Michael Lorenzen will be making his second start of the year for the Rangers. He's making his first start tonight, so we don't really know what we're getting out of him, but he did look solid in his year with Philadelphia. So let's see if Michael Lorenzen can kind of translate that over and just eat innings for a rotation that has just been hit with injuries, as Cody Bradford has hit the injured list for Texas, so that's another big arm they cannot rely on. The Braves have not announced a starter for Sunday's finale. However, John Gray does go for the Rangers. As we talked about last week, Gray has struggled, but he turned things around his last start, bring that ERA down to 4.83, 97 ERA plus on the year. The whip is still high. He's striking out a lot of guys. and hopefully he can find the zone a little more while still retaining the elite strikeout rate. And again, he's got to be another guy that eats innings for this staff. Players to watch for on the Rangers, Adolis Garcia has been scorching hot to start the season. He's picked up where he's left off in the postseason. 328 average, 4 home runs, 15 RBIs, a 178 OPS plus. He has been absolutely smashing everything this year. The added muscle has really helped him out, and he is the big man in that lineup. Evan Carter, the 245 average and 2 home runs, has been okay, not really what you want to see from him. However, he's walking 16.6% of the time. He has been absolutely tremendous with his mastery of the zone, and that's kind of what you want to see from Evan Carter. You know what you're getting out of Simeon and Seager. You just need a guy to take his walks, hit the pitches he might. You just need someone in front of Garcia, to be honest, and that's who he is. Meanwhile, Corey Seager's having a good year. He's not having a Corey Seager year. He's got a 304 average, only 1 home run. He's walking a lot, but that 128 OPS plus is not what you expect out of Corey Seager. He's going to get it going. He is one of, if not the most consistent hitter in baseball. So it's only a matter of time before he starts heating up and showing that Corey Seager we love so much. For the Braves, the now platoon Jared Kelenic has shown again the Mariners' incompetence as he's thriving. 414 average for a 168 OPS plus. He's doing what the Braves need him to do. They don't need him to hit lefties. They don't want him to hit lefties. They just need someone to add length to this lineup, and he's adding much needed length to this lineup, and he looks great. Expect him to go off against righties in the series. Acuna has struggled to start the year. A 96 OPS plus says all you need to know, as he's a little bit below average with the bat. It's got a 273 average. No home runs. The stolen bases are there, but you need a little bit more contact, a lot more power from Acuna if he wants to repeat what he did last year and really just make this already terrifying Braves lineup nightmarish. Meanwhile, I don't like to talk about this given who he is as a human being, but there's no denying how great Marcell Ozuna has been at the plate. 373 average, 7 home runs, 21 RBIs, a 215 OPS plus, meaning that he is more than twice as good as the league average hitter. He has been incredible to start the year. We were looking at that Ozuna contract as one of the worst for a while, but he has finally figured things out, and he is crushing everything he sees. He's playing Marcell Ozuna ball and then some, which is terrifying because you know what you're getting out of Olsen and Riley and Albies, and Acuna hasn't started. And if he's hitting anywhere close to this Braves lineup is the best in baseball. And already, they are the best in baseball. As a team, they have a 130 OPS plus, meaning they are 30% better than the average team in baseball. A 301 team average is unheard of, even like this early into the year. It's just an incredible lineup, no matter how you slice it, and it's going to be a challenge for this Rangers pitching to get through. But the Rangers are not anything to snuff at either. They're 118 OPS plus. They're getting contributions up and down the lineup. Even like Josh Smith filling in for the injured Josh Young, who's going to be out for a while, he's having a great season this year as he's putting a 130 OPS plus filling in at third base. It's going to be fantastic in fireworks, especially because both teams' pitching is average at best. The Rangers have a 101 ERA plus, the definition of average. The rotation has been solid, but the bullpen has struggled. David Robertson has been phenomenal, but other than that, Jose Leclerc is average, and then everyone else has just been getting hit hard and blown up, which is really a bad thing to do going into Truist, because this Braves lineup, as we've said multiple times before, is difficult, and you need someone to bridge the gap to Robertson in the ninth. Meanwhile, the Braves are the complete opposite. The rotation has been okay, if I'm being generous. No starter in the rotation has put up an ERA plus above 100. They're all slightly below average. They all have flaws in their own ways. And now they really have to carry the load because their ace is out for the year. And now they really need to get going. But the bullpen has been phenomenal. Several great arms in that pen, no matter how you slice it. Raisel Iglesias is the closer. They have a bunch of arms to get to him, They just need to get that lead to Iglesias. So overall, we don't know what's going to happen in October, but this looks to be one of the best series of the young season. But tell me what you're thinking about. What series are you looking forward to? Are you maybe looking forward to Dodgers-Mets? Let me know in the comments and below. And as always, leave a like, subscribe to Playbook Sports, and on the way out, don't forget, play ball.